Hello, I'm Hope Logan. I am an actor on Bold and the Beautiful, and many people really love both me and our Bold and the Beautiful drama. So I've come here to share updates about my beloved Bold and the Beautiful. Everyone, please subscribe and support me. If you do, I will keep coming every day with new updates for you. The world of the Bold and the Beautiful turns once again into a stage of shifting power, fragile loyalties, and quiet heartbreak as Monday, April 27 unfolds with a tension that feels almost inevitable. Inside the sleek, sunlit design office at Forrester Creations, Hope Logan Spencer stands on the edge of what she believes is a triumphant moment. Her voice filled with passion as she pours her heart into describing the latest designs for Hope for the future. Every word she speaks carries the weight of dedication, of sleepless nights and unwavering belief in her vision, and for a brief moment, the room feels alive with possibility. She imagines growth, expansion, and a future that finally feels secure. Her excitement building as she looks towards Steffy Forrester Finnegan for validation. But the shift in Steffi's expression, subtle yet unmistakable, begins to unravel that fragile hope before a single word is spoken. What follows is not just a conversation, but the quiet collapse of expectation, as Steffi gently but firmly delivers news that lands like a sudden storm over Hope's carefully built dreams. As Steffi begins to explain that Forrester Creations must recalibrate its priorities, the meaning behind her words becomes painfully clear long before she finishes speaking. The air grows heavy with unspoken understanding, and Hope feels the ground slipping beneath her as the realization sets in. Hope for the future is once again being pushed aside, sacrificed in favor of the prestige and profitability of couture. Steffi insists that it isn't personal, that it's only temporary, but those assurances ring hollow against the history they both know too well. This isn't the first time Hope's line has been paused, delayed, or deprioritized, and each time it happens, it chips away at her sense of belonging within the company she once believed in so deeply. The disappointment isn't just professional, it's deeply personal, cutting into her identity and her purpose. As the weight of Steffi's decision settles in, Hope begins to question everything: her value, her place, and whether staying at Forrester means continuing to fight a battle she can never truly win. That quiet doubt slowly transforms into something more dangerous: the possibility of change. Somewhere beyond the walls of Forrester Creations, another path begins to take shape, one that might offer Hope the recognition and freedom she's been denied. With Katie Logan Spencer pushing forward with new ambitions at Logan, the idea of leaving Forrester behind no longer feels unthinkable. It feels inevitable. The tension between loyalty and self-worth tightens around Hope as she contemplates what it would mean to walk away from everything she's built and start fresh somewhere new. It's a risk, one that could redefine her career and her identity, but it's also a chance to reclaim control over her own future. In that moment of uncertainty, the story quietly pivots, hinting that Hope's next move may not just be bold, it may be transformative. Meanwhile, the emotional fallout from the recent fashion show continues to ripple through the Logan family, where unresolved tensions simmer just beneath the surface. Brooke, Logan, Forrester, and Katie find themselves locked in a confrontation that feels less like a disagreement and more like a deep, unresolved fracture. Katie longs for something simple, for her sister's pride, for acknowledgement of Logan's success, but Brooke cannot bring herself to offer it. The wounds run too deep, fueled by accusations that Katie has crossed unforgivable lines, from using the Logan name in ways Brooke resents to what she perceives as taking designs tied to Eric Forrester's legacy. Every word exchanged between them carries years of history, of rivalry, of love twisted into resentment, and it becomes painfully clear that reconciliation is nowhere in sight. The distance between them only grows, turning what should be a moment of shared triumph into yet another chapter of conflict. As emotions harden and positions become more entrenched, the future of both families begins to shift in ways that feel both thrilling and dangerous. Katie and Bill Spencer remain focused, determined to push Logan forward with new goals and renewed ambition, undeterred by Brooke's disapproval or the growing tension within the family. Their momentum creates a stark contrast to the uncertainty unfolding at Forrester, where Hope stands at a crossroads that could change everything. The stage is set for decisions that will ripple far beyond the design room, reshaping alliances, careers, and relationships in ways no one can fully predict. And as the story moves forward, one truth becomes impossible to ignore. Every choice made in this moment will carry consequences, and not everyone will walk away unscathed. The tension that lingers in the wake of Steffi's decision doesn't simply fade, it deepens, settling into Hope's chest like a quiet, persistent ache that refuses to be ignored. Long after the conversation ends, the design office feels different, colder somehow, as if the very space has turned against her dreams. Hope lingers among the sketches and fabric swatches that once symbolized endless possibility, now reduced to reminders of something slipping through her fingers yet again. Every paused project, every delayed launch echoes in her mind, forming a pattern she can no longer deny. This isn't just a temporary setback, it's a cycle, one that keeps pulling her back just when she dares to move forward. And in that growing silence, Hope begins to understand that staying may mean accepting a future where her vision is always secondary, always negotiable, always at risk of disappearing. That realization doesn't come with clarity or relief, but with a storm of conflicting emotions that rise and fall in waves. Loyalty tugs at her, reminding her of the history she shares with Forrester Creations, of the moments when she believed she truly belonged there. Yet beneath that loyalty lies a deeper truth, one that has been quietly building with every disappointment. She deserves more than this constant uncertainty. The idea of walking away, once unthinkable, now feels like a fragile thread of hope stretching out in front of her. It's not just about leaving a company, it's about reclaiming her voice, her vision, and her sense of purpose. And as that thought takes hold, it begins to reshape the way she sees everything, turning hesitation into something closer to resolve. Across town, the energy at Logan couldn't be more different, charged with momentum and the thrill of something new taking shape. Katie and Bill move forward with a sense of determination that feels almost defiant, as though they are building something stronger in the face of every obstacle thrown their way. Their plans aren't just about business. They're about proving that they can create something meaningful on their own terms, something that doesn't rely on approval from anyone else. The contrast between Logan's rising ambition and Forrester's shifting priorities creates a quiet but undeniable pull, one that seems to draw Hope closer with every passing moment. It's a world where her ideas might not be sidelined, where her voice might finally carry the weight she's been fighting for. And even though nothing has been decided yet, the possibility alone begins to feel like a turning point. At the same time, the fracture between Brooke and Katie continues to widen, their confrontation leaving behind a trail of unresolved pain that neither seems willing to confront head-on. Brooke stands firm in her convictions, unable to look past what she sees as betrayal, her pride and hurt intertwining into something rigid and unyielding. Katie, on the other hand, carries her own quiet strength, refusing to let Brooke's disapproval diminish what she has worked so hard to achieve. The distance between them isn't just emotional. It's symbolic of a larger shift within the family, where old loyalties are being tested and new alliances are beginning to take shape. What once felt like a bond that could weather anything now feels fragile, strained by choices that cannot be undone. And with neither side willing to take the first step toward reconciliation, the tension settles into something lasting, something that promises to resurface again and again. As these parallel stories unfold, the sense of inevitability grows stronger, as though everything is quietly building toward a moment that will change the course of each character's journey. Hope stands at the center of it all, caught between the comfort of what she knows and the uncertain promise of something more. Every glance back at Forrester feels heavier now, filled with doubt and unanswered questions, while every thought of Logan carries a spark of possibility that refuses to dim. The choices ahead won't be easy, and they won't come without consequences, but they will define who she becomes moving forward. And as the lines between past and future begin to blur, one thing becomes certain. This isn't just a professional crossroads for Hope, but a deeply personal reckoning that will shape her path in ways she can't yet fully see. As the weight of these choices begins to settle into something real, Hope finds herself standing in a quiet in-between, a space where every path forward feels both promising and terrifying at the same time. The familiar halls of Forrester Creations, once filled with purpose and pride, now feel like echoes of a dream that keeps slipping just out of reach, no matter how tightly she tries to hold on to it. Each memory, every success, every setback, replays in her mind with a new clarity, forcing her to confront a truth she can no longer avoid. She has been patient, she has been loyal, and she has given everything to keep her vision alive, Yet somehow, it has never been enough to secure her place. That realization doesn't come with anger alone, but with a quiet sense of awakening, as if something inside her is finally refusing to be silenced. And in that moment, the idea of staying begins to feel heavier than the fear of leaving. The pull towards something new grows stronger with each passing hour, drawing her thoughts back to Logan and the energy building there like a rising tide. It isn't just the promise of opportunity that captures her, it's the feeling of being wanted, of being seen as essential rather than expendable. Katie and Bill's determination to carve out their own success begins to resonate with Hope in a way she hadn't expected, stirring a sense of belonging she hasn't felt in a long time. There's a quiet invitation in their momentum, an unspoken possibility that she could step into something bigger, something where her ideas aren't paused or pushed aside but allowed to flourish. And while the uncertainty of such a leap lingers at the edges of her thoughts, it no longer feels like a barrier. It feels like a challenge waiting to be embraced. The future she once imagined at Forrester begins to shift, reshaping itself into something new, something she might have the power to build on her own terms. Meanwhile, the emotional storm between Brooke and Katie shows no signs of calming, their divide growing sharper with every passing moment. What once might have been resolved with a heartfelt conversation now feels like a standoff neither is willing to break, each holding on to their perspective with unwavering resolve. Brooke's inability to move past what she sees as betrayal casts a long shadow over everything, turning even moments of success into reminders of what she believes has been lost. Katie, however, stands firm in her choices, her strength rooted in the belief that she is finally doing what's right for herself and her future. The tension between them becomes more than personal. It becomes symbolic of the larger shifts happening around them, where old structures are being challenged and new ones are rising in their place. And as their conflict deepens, it becomes clear that reconciliation will not come easily, if at all. Through it all, the sense of transformation becomes impossible to ignore, as though every character is being pulled toward a turning point that will redefine their paths. Hope's internal struggle reaches a quiet but powerful crescendo, her uncertainty giving way to something steadier, something more certain. The questions that once held her back begin to lose their power, replaced by a growing belief that she deserves more than the role she has been asked to play. It's not a sudden decision, not a dramatic declaration, but a shift that happens deep within her, where fear begins to give way to courage. And as that courage takes root, the direction of her future begins to come into focus, guiding her toward a choice that could change everything. In the end, the world around them continues to move forward, indifferent to hesitation, driven by ambition, rivalry, and the relentless pursuit of something greater. Katie and Bill press on with their plans, building momentum that feels unstoppable, while Brooke remains anchored in her convictions, unable to let go of the past. And at the center of it all, Hope stands on the edge of a new beginning, her next step carrying the weight of everything she has endured and everything she hopes to become. The story doesn't close with certainty, but with possibility, with the sense that something significant is about to unfold, something that will ripple through every corner of their lives. Because in a world where loyalty is tested and dreams are constantly at risk, the boldest move isn't always the safest one, but it's often the one that changes everything.